Hey there, everybody. Kyle Sasser here, and it's everyone's favorite time of the month. That's right, it's real estate market statistics time. These real estate statistics are for Pinellas County for May 2024. So if you have a copy of this report, you might notice that the actual report says April 2024. Why is that? Well, that is because we can only form complete numbers on the previous month. And so what we do is we compare year to year. So we are comparing April 2024 to April 2023. Long-standing viewers of the channel know that I don't usually look at month to month too much. And the reason why is because there is a natural ebb and flow to the real estate cycle during the course of a calendar year. The obvious examples is in the wintertime, not as many people interested in buying houses, not as many people interested in selling their house. And so all the numbers kind of move throughout the year anyway, meaning that month-to-month comparisons are of limited utility, I guess you could say. I have been keeping an eye on month-to-month numbers more the last couple of years just because the market's been a little funky for the last couple of years. But generally speaking, we are comparing April 2024 to April 2023. So we do have to wait until we get through the entire month, and then it takes me a few days to compile all this information together. The 5th of the next month is about as early as I can get reliable data from the MLS. And the reason why is because it just takes agents a few days to update sales, sales data, sales prices, and all that stuff. So I usually give it a few days so all those things can get updated. The other thing to know is that we have been in a bit of an unusual market the last few years. Obviously, everyone knows that home prices have really, cranked up around the time that we had the COVID pandemic. And since then, since about June of 2022, market's really been oscillating back and forth, right? So it kind of goes with demand. The overarching problem is it's a supply problem. The overarching reason for the price increase has been inventory. There have been fewer homes for sale than there had been in previous periods. So even though the number of home sales is also down, the number of homes that had been being listed were low enough that we were not able to build up a sizable amount of inventory to where prices would stabilize or decline. So we had years and years of pretty steady price increases, which hit like at a very accelerated pace during the COVID pandemic. And then we basically kind of been oscillating back and forth on about a rough 6-month cycle, which coincidentally coincides with seasons of the year. Late fall, holiday season, wintertime, and early spring. Most people aren't overly excited about buying or selling a home. They have other things on their mind. And spring, summertime is usually peak seasons. So what we have been seeing is, home prices fluctuating with that shift in demand. All right, so let's dive into these Pinellas real estate statistics. So total number of closed sales was 1,043. That is an increase of 21.4% from April 2023. Number of cash sales was up 35.8% from 257 to $349,000. Median sales price is up 7.8% from $450,000 to $485,000. And average sales price is up 9.2% from $630,860 to $688,794,000. Dollar volume is up 32.6% from $542 million to $718 million. Median percent of original list price. So what this is basically the original asking price of that house whenever it went up for sale. What is the eventual sales price? That actually went down 1.6% from 96.1% to 94.6%. Now, a lot of people mistake price reductions off of the asking price as prices going down. That is not the case, because if the original asking price is higher than what it would have sold for, or what the asking price would have been 6 months ago, it's expected that it's going to sell for less than the asking price. That is normal market conditions. Normal market conditions is not. So we will touch a little bit more on that in the explanation part of this video. Median time to contract is up 30%. So it's taken a little longer for homes to go under contract. That's moved from 20 days to 26 days. That is still very much seller's market territory. Total number of new listings. All of this other stuff is expected. The interesting bit here is the number of new listings is up 56.3% from 923 to 1,443 homes. I do have some reasons that I want to point out for why that is, because there's a couple exceptional things that have happened in the area. But still, that is noteworthy. That is a lot more new listings than was expected. Total number of active inventory is also significantly up. That's up 105%. So we have twice as many homes for sale in Pinellas County in April 2024 than we did in April 2023. That went from 1,248 homes to 2,558 homes. That does sound like prices should be catastrophically falling, but it's important to remember that the 1,000 homes that we had in April 2023 is critically low. That is so few number of houses for sale that it's crazy. Foreclosure and short sales, again, not a real significant problem on that segment of the market, the doom and gloom section. There's a total of 5 foreclosures and 1 short sale. A little bit more detail here. So, number of closed sales, we had a really slow time last year. We are selling more homes in April 2024 than we were in April 2023. We had 859 in April 2023, and then 2024 here, we've had 1,043. And we didn't sell more than 1,000 homes all of 2023. The thing I want to note, though, is that we did set new record median home prices in 2023, despite closed sales being so low. Historically, we had been selling more than 1,000 homes a month. From 2019 to about August 2022, the vast majority of months, we sold more than 1,000 homes. So the fact that demand really dropped that significantly was noteworthy. Naturally, the question becomes, well, since there's so much inventory and so few home sales, why aren't prices dropping? And I will get to that in the explanation part. Median sales price, again, has held relatively steady. We've had the 6-month oscillation back and forth. The last record home price was in July 2023 at $484,000. November, we had $490,000. But the thing with that one is we had so few homes that sold that I don't really put a lot of stock in that number. Again, we normally sell 800, 900 to 1,000, 1,100 homes. That month we sold 666 homes. And I'm not superstitious, but whenever you have that few homes, you have to keep in mind the context that few homes, the median home price is going to move harder than quote unquote typical market. This month, since we are over 1,000 homes, that kind of rule doesn't really apply. And we've had a pretty steady march upwards in median home price for the last 4 or 5 months. So December, we had 436,500. January, we had 455,000. February, we had 452,000. So it held pretty steady there. March, we had 463. And then April, we've had 485. So you can see there's a strong median sales price trajectory there. Median percent of original list price has basically been below 100% since August 2022. We haven't really gotten close to 100% again. And again, it's important to remember home selling in 7 days at or above asking price is not how the real estate market normally works. That is unicorn territory. That is not normal market. So anytime you see a news story or something that is comparing current market to unicorn market, you can basically just ball that up into a wad of paper and throw it in the trash. It is not useful to understand what is going on currently. Now, with sales having been low but jumping up to 1,000, let's look at what new listings have done. So new listings have been above the 1,000 mark for the last few months. And that's noteworthy, right? Because the previous couple years, they have been relatively close. There have been times where the number of new listings outpaced the number of sales, but it was usually only by a few. So at least so far as Pinellas County goes, it's noteworthy that we have built the amount of inventory that we have over there. Now, the absolute low point of total active inventory in Pinellas County was February of 2022. We had maybe 700 homes for sale in the entire county, which is bonkers. After that, in the wintertime of 2022, we went up and crossed 2,000 homes for sale. And we also had a pretty good price slide at that. But then, as we hit April 2023, funny enough, the number of total inventory rapidly dropped off. It went from over 2,000 homes to about 1,200 homes, and then that's when prices really started going up again. Currently, we do have more homes than we did last year. Again, this is unusual. Hillsborough County has had pretty high inventory for the last 8 or 9 months, honestly, but their home prices have held pretty steady. St. Pete, on the other hand, had very low inventory, and I would say it has basically made efforts to catch up with where Hillsborough County is at. But currently we're at 2,550 homes. We have been adding about 100 or 50 homes every month for the last 7 months here. So we went from 1,300 homes in July 2023. November, we went up to 2,243. March, we went up to 2,359, and then April, we went to 2,558. Median time to contract is one of my favorite metrics to kind of gauge where demand is at in the market. It also really tells us if we're kind of in seller's market territory or buyer's market or neutral. The low point was, again, April and March 2022. We were down around 6 days, if I remember correctly, 5 to 6 days there. And that went all the way up, I want to say like 34 days in January 2023. Then we slid back down through the summertime of last year, and we got all the way back down to like 11 or 12 days on July 2023. August, it rebounded back up to about 15. January and February, we were back up to 30, 36 and 35 days, but now we are back down to 26 days. Now, the other thing to know is all of these numbers. So 36 days sounds terrible if you're comparing it to 5 days. That is still very much seller's market territory. Sellers do not get too overly worried if it only takes 30 or 40 days for their house to get under contract. And you're certainly not going to see big price slides in that time frame. Now, I do like to dive into the different price points because $1 million house sells in a little bit different time frame than a $400,000 house. Primarily just there's a bigger buyer pool at the $1 million price point. I also try not to hit every one of these because it gets a little monotonous. I usually just try to hit the high points. So total number of closed sales by sales price. There was a 62.5% increase in the number of $200,000 to $250,000 homes sold, total of 26. There was a 16.2% decrease at the $250,000 to $300,000 price point, total of 57. There was a 31.8, $300,000 to $400,000 held pretty steady, only a 3.4% decline, total of 228. $400,000 to $600,000 went up 21.8% to 363. And 600 to 1 million went up 36.5% to 202. Median time to contract is one that we do need to pay particular attention to because there's a lot of difference between some of these price points. So the shortest time period is 200 to 250, only 10 days, which is an increase of 66.7% compared to last year. But that is still super quick. 150 to 200,000 dropped 66.7% to 13. $100,000 to $150,000 went up 186.7% of 43 days. That is primarily going to be, I would guess, because those were just terrible quality houses. That is about the only reason those would hang around that long at that price point. $400,000 to $600,000 was up 44.4% to 26, and $1 million or more was actually down 10.3% to 35 days. So $1 million or more was selling quicker than last year. Total number of new listings by list price. Again, if we are looking under $250,000, there is not a lot to choose from. There's a total of 7 homes between $150,000 and $200,000. Total of 19 between $200,000 and $250,000. Things change once you hit the $300,000 mark, though. There was a total of 284 homes, there's a total of 284 new listings, which was an increase of 44.9%. 400 to 600, there was 60.7% more homes. Total of 503. 600 to $1 million was up 91.8% for new listings. 349 homes. So that's almost double as many homes for sale in that price point. And then total inventory, basically above 250, there's almost twice as many homes to choose from there was last year. Under that, there are fewer. So there's only 10 homes between 150 and 200,000, which is a decrease of 9.1%. 250 to 300,000, there's 102.9% more homes sold available. Total of 71. 300 to 400,000 was up 101.6% to 369. 400 to 600,000 was up 162.9% to 807. 600 to 1 million was up 114.6% to 601. And $1 million or more was up 66.7% to 665. So those are the real estate statistics for Pinellas County for May 2024. Now, if you remember back to your math class, you might remember average or median being two different things. And then there's also mean, median, and mode. I believe mean is equivalent to average, but we're not gonna dive into that. Average. Most people know how to calculate an average. You take the price of, let's say, 5 homes, you take those purchase prices, you add up all of those prices, you divide it by 5, that gives you the average price. Median home price is a little bit different. What a median price is it is the point at which there's an equal number of homes for sale with a price point higher and lower. So it is more of the midpoint of the market where there's an equal number of more expensive houses and an equal number of lower priced houses. Typically, I pay more attention to the median home price because averages do tend to get pulled pretty hard if there is a sizable change in the number of very expensive or very inexpensive houses that sell in any particular period. That said, since total sales is down pretty significantly, the median does move around more than it would usually, whenever we had multiple thousands of homes for sale. So yeah, but typically, even with that, I do still pay more attention to median home price versus average just because it is more of a balanced price, I guess you could say, as much as one can be. So let's talk about what these numbers mean, what the market's kind of shaping up to be. If you watched my previous videos, you know that I kind of had the feeling that 2024 is going to shape up to be a bit of a repeat of 2023. Hillsborough County especially, I would say that is holding true. St. Pete and Pinellas County has thrown a bit of a wild card in here. We still have the setup for prices to increase, and we have the expected off to the races for buyers. Like the number of buyers is coming back as expected because we're coming in the spring and summertime. The bit of the unexpected part is the number of home sales and how that came back more than the number of home purchases. Now, again, those numbers fluctuate throughout the years, and I still do feel that we are set up pretty well for price increases this year, but it's something that I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on. So the main thing is if inventory and new listings stays ahead, if new listings and total inventory stays ahead of number of closed sales, then eventually that would work out to, prices should come down. Whereas if what's probably going to happen, which is number of new listings, kind of stalls out a little bit while the number of sales continues to increase, we will see, the total number of inventory start to decrease as the buyers chew through that, and prices will probably go up again. The quirky thing with these numbers is a lot of this data, especially the sales data, the time on market data, and all that only gets counted if the property actually sells. So again, Hillsborough County has held steady for 6 months. So I'm not really speaking to Hillsborough County. Hillsborough County is just, it's kind of doing its thing until one of those numbers shifts. St. Petersburg and Pinellas County, it'll be interesting to see if this was a blip. Maybe it's a recovery from a few months ago. A few months ago, we had a really low blip where there was a very few amount of homes sold and a very few amount of homes got listed. So it'll be interesting to see if that balances out a bit. But again, the same thing is true. The sales data, median home price, time to contract, all of that only gets calculated on things that actually sell. So when you have the total number of new listings go up like 50% and total active inventory doubles, that means that there's a lot of houses that are going for sale. So if a house has been on the market for 100 days and it hasn't sold yet, that is not getting counted in any of those statistics except for, the total inventory. Now, eventually, if it sells, it will get counted. But there's also a lot of properties that roll off. But there are properties that just expire and they basically just disappear. They roll out of the active inventory numbers, and they're also not counted in that time to contract number because they don't sell. So it's important to keep all that context in mind. You've probably seen some news stories about prices being slashed and inventory is overwhelming. That is very overblown. And the main reason why is because they are comparing inventory data to 2021 and 22, which are exceptionally crazy unicorn markets. Time to contract is 5, 6, 7 days, and houses selling at or above asking price is not the normal state of the market. That is actually unsustainable. So anytime you read an article, it's important to take a look and see what times they are comparing. And most of the ones I've seen that are running that story, they're either comparing it to 2021 or 2022, or potentially even worse, they are literally just looking at the last 6 or 7 months. No kidding, the inventory up and sales is down. It's called wintertime. It happens every year. It is not a surprise. So just a little inside baseball there for you on kind of my beef with real estate reporting. I guess you could say. So yeah, so what do I think the market is going to do? If I had $100 and I was asked to bet that, do I think home prices are going up or going down? I would probably put about $85 to $92 on prices going up this year and about $8 to $10 on prices going down. The primary problem is a lot of people still really want to buy in the Tampa Bay area. The inventory is up. The number of new listings is so low and still relatively close to closed sales. As the number of buyers increase, that balance is going to tip to prices increasing. The only way we really get to a long-term price decline is if you have a lot more supply than you do buyers for an extended period of time. It usually takes, because again, sellers do not really want to sell their house for less than they think it is worth, and they're usually willing to give it a good amount of time to see if the market will come back to them and if they can, have their price realized. And at least in the last couple of years, that has seemingly been the case. So I guess the too long didn't read or watch or listen. Basically, as expected, both buyers and listings have come back, right? So, number of buyers is on the rise, number of listings is on the rise. So they're kind of off to the races. Who wins is going to determine what the market does. And again, that's very basic stuff. My suspicion here is that the number of buyers will eventually overwhelm the inventory. But again, I wouldn't be doing you right if I didn't say that it's not 100%. So I'm not dissuaded by these numbers to change my feeling from the last, 3-4 months, but they're shaping up enough, especially Saint Petersburg, that, it's definitely not 100%. So thank you so much for tuning in and checking out these market statistics. I do one of these every month, so be sure to subscribe and, all of those things you're supposed to click on here. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. If you would like help finding your own great place in the Tampa Bay area, I would love to help you out. You can reach me. My phone number is 727-300-2111. It's also a contact form description down below. You can book a chat for the time that works best for you. Be happy to have just a quick, simple conversation with you. Once again, my name is Kyle Sasser. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll talk to you soon.